in the box and said me line it, open it up and then seal it up. I'm from the street man, I feel like sesame. All of these thought you want sex with me. Whip it and flip it, I know the recipe, remember being.
What's up guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. First off, I'd like to thank everyone for the support for my first video. That was like greatly appreciated. For the subscribes and the comments and the likes. I really appreciate that. That meant a lot to me starting this thing off because I really didn't know where to start, but I kind of just went with it, and getting like 70, almost 80 views in a day, that was really good for me. So I'm proud of that. So thank you guys for that. So today I wanted to like touch bases on like a little bit of the things that like I've been through, kind of like my background, because I'm young, but like I've been through a lot, and I feel like it shaped me into the person that I am, and that is pretty much still shaping me. And I'm grateful that I went through everything I went through, because you know, it builds character, and when I go through something, I'm able to help other people go through it because, you know, I've been there. So I'm grateful for that. So today I'm going to talk about my experience with domestic violence and leaving the marriage that I was in for 3 years. So let's get into it. I'm Brandy, I'm 23, and I'm a survivor of domestic violence. It's crazy, right? I thank God that I don't look like what I've been through. I know a lot of people, they've probably seen me like always posting pictures of my husband and me and my kids, and you know, we looked happy, we looked like a family, we like this perfect family. We was always going out on dates, to the beach, smiling. Well, that's like just what everyone saw like on the outside. Well, before I get started about that, let me tell you a little bit about how everything started. I started college in August of 2014. That's when I met Dimitri online in this Facebook group. We had like mutual friends and stuff, and we started talking, and I found out that he lived like 3 hours away from me. He was in the army at the time, so he ended up like started visiting me all the time. You know, he was perfect, he was tall, he was handsome, he had his own job, his own car, he was attentive, he was caring, he was funny, he was charismatic, he was all that. Like he would he was like gold, you know. He got me anything I wanted, and at first I was like head over heels in love with him. I'm not even gonna front and say that I wasn't. He was like the total package, and he just kind of just came out of nowhere, you know. He ended up paying this bill for me while I was in college, and like to me, I see him like as like a superhero, like, you know. He just came through like clutch, and I'm like, he was just everything. Then I left college my second semester, and we ended up getting married in February 2014. I was 19 and he was 21. Yeah, we was moving like really fast, and I guess that's how in love I was at the time. I got pregnant in February with my firstborn, Jada. We moved to Texas like around April, and this is where I started noticing like if you see me looking off to the side, I'm just right. We moved to Texas like around April, and this is where I started noticing like small red flags and little inconsistencies. Like his temper started to flare up out of nowhere, like out of really small things. Like I'll be like, take out the trash, can you help me take out the trash, I'm pregnant, I don't really feel too well. And because of that, he would end up throwing something across the room, and that was like a huge red flag for me. he would always end up tossing my things across the room and apologizing for it later. We would always like argue like 24/7. He would start staying out like extra late after work, lying and like making excuses. And I was pregnant, so I was like extremely hormonal at the time. But I would get gaslighted and like made to believe that I was crazy and that I was just over exaggerating. Like, don't believe, like, oh, she's just a crazy pregnant lady, hormonal. Don't listen to her, she'll be all right. So I started finding texts to like other girls and like exes, and you know how that goes. We were going for like hours. Like, I'm like, why are you doing this? You don't have any reason to do this. Like, I'm good to you. Like, I was everything to you. I thought you loved me. He would say he didn't want anyone else but me. He know that he was selfish for cheating, and I would believe it. Like, he became like really, really possessive over me. Even though he wasn't doing right, he was being possessive. Like, you don't have a right to be possessive when you're not doing the right thing. And I probably should have left him right. I probably should have just, as soon as I noticed that first couple of red flags, I probably should have got my bags then and left. Like, but nah, I was pregnant. This was our first kid. We were gonna be a family. We were married. I wanted us to be a family so bad, but he hurt me so bad. But I loved him, and I felt like there was a period of time where I felt like I cannot live without this man. I didn't want to be without him. No matter how he treated me, I just wanted to at least feel like I was being loved, you know? I wanted someone to be there. I wanted him to be there. He would always do something to provoke an argument. Like, so we would be going, like, arguing back and forth, like, sometimes 4 or 5 hours straight. I think things really took a turning point when the suicide threats and attempts started. It was always happening, and each time it happened, I talked him through it, and like I catered to him. I kind of felt like you know, I was being there for him, and I wasn't really being there for myself. I did pretty much anything for him because I thought it would help him. I thought it would make him better. I did things for him I didn't even want to do, you know, just for the sake of him and trying to help him get better so we could be a proper family. I started neglecting my own mental health, really my physical health too, to take care of Dimitri. It was a cycle of something happening. I would rush to make it better. I would get gaslighted, and then he would do things to make up for it, whether it was sex or buying me things. He would always come in with like roses and like chocolates and like trying to cover it up, like material things, to like take me out, like buy me food, like to cover it up and pretend that it didn't happen. But the fact of the matter is that it did happen, and I had feelings, and it was valid. And during my pregnancy, he cheated on me during it and even after. And at the time, I was so young and dumb, like I literally didn't know. Dimitri, he got out the army January 2015, and then we moved to North Carolina in March 2015. I met his family, and I instantly fell in love with them. Like, they were just amazing. They moved with us in April, and it was okay at first, but then things went from good to worse. He started randomly leaving and neglecting our child. He started treating his family like crap. He was being really selfish with food and bills, and I was being the stupid one to submit to him and listen to what he had to say. But at the time, I didn't really have a voice because he didn't allow me to have that voice. He had that control over me at the time where I didn't even have my own voice to speak. No one knows. I would do things for him just to get him to do certain things for the family. And after a while, I just started to feel like a toy. Like, sex became less romantic, and it kind of started to feel like a chore. And in the beginning, it wasn't like that, you know, because like I was in love with him. It was a totally different story. He started to become really mean and hateful towards our own kid. I would catch times where he would just be glaring at her like hateful, and I'm like, you have no reason to do that, like you're just pure evil. We got into a huge dispute in July 2015. We went outside to talk. He wouldn't let go of my hands. He kept restraining me, trying to get his point across, and he was forcing me to talk to him, and I didn't really want to talk. I was upset, so I said something to him, and he ended up pushing me down 5 steps. After that happened, I was shook. Like, he didn't even offer to help me up. He just went back in the house, and I didn't really recognize him. Like, before he did it, he just had this evil look in his eyes, and like it just sent chills down my spine. And he never really went that far before, as far as putting his hands on me. He left for a little bit, and then he came back a few hours later, and then he said he wanted me out the house. He wanted me gone. He tossed all my stuff out and my kids' stuff, and he put it outside in the dirt. It was embarrassing. Neighbors were looking, and he was just really embarrassing us. The police came, and they found out that he had brought a gun back to the house, and I truly believed that day that he was gonna try and shoot me while I was outside trying to pick my clothes up outside. So that day, my family and I left, and we found this apartment because we were just fed up, and the dad. So my family and I ended up finding this apartment. And of course, Dimitri begins to blow up my phone, calling me about 50 times a day. And I'm not even exaggerating. It might even have been 100, like back to back to back, like real psychopath behavior. I got away from him, and suddenly he wanted to like start acting like he missed me, like he cared about me. No, he missed having that control over me. We were separated for a few months, and I ended up while we were separated, I ended up sleeping with this guy, and I was so hurt that I just needed something to take the hurt and the pain away that I was feeling. And a few months later, things calmed down. Ended up taking him back because, I thought he was sorry. I thought he said he wasn't gonna do it again. We were gonna be a family. He was gonna get help. Things were. It was really good at first. He promised me he never put his hands on me again. At that time, I became pregnant with my second born in March. I think it was March 2016. Yeah. Again, it was hell. It became the same old abusive patterns. There was cheating again, and once I gave birth to my son in December, it got a lot worse. He began treating me legit like I was a slave. I wasn't allowed to really go anywhere or do anything. I could never go anywhere by myself. He would always say he would have to come along, deflecting his own insecurities onto me. He used me for sex. There were times where he raped me a few times. And yes, there's a such thing as rape in marriage. If you don't consent to give your husband that permission, they have no right to try and take. When I told him no, he wouldn't stop, and I would be in like tears like during it, and after he would like give me like this weak apology, like, oh, I'm sorry. And no, you wasn't sorry. Like, that's rape. That's really rape. He started isolating me, yelling at me, following me around the house. And this isn't even all of it. The breaking point was one day I got tired of him neglecting my kid, and I stood up to him. And that day he got very angry. He dragged me off the couch, and he started dragging me like all around the house. I kid you not. And he threw me down on the bed, and he stood over me, trying to make himself superior to me. And I said that day that was enough. I said it was enough. I felt like a slave, felt like scum, like no feeling could ever describe how disgusting I felt. That the man that I once fell in love with was treating me like I was nothing to him. Nothing. I truly believe he would have taken my life that day again, and I would not have been here with my babies or my family. The next day I decided to leave for good. This was the last straw. I packed up all my stuff, and I called a shelter to come and get me and my children. And I said enough was enough. Today's the day I'm just leaving this abusive marriage. And as soon as I fled that house, I just felt the chains just spiritually just snapping off of me, the chains of like bondage and everything that I was feeling that was holding me down just snapped. And I was no longer his wife. I felt like I was a prisoner. I left in June of 2018, I think. Once I left, he started blowing up my phone from different numbers after I had blocked him, and different accounts on social media after I went completely no contact with him. Because that's what they tell you to do when you leave an abusive marriage, to not even contact the person. I had to switch shelters, women's shelters, because he set our house on fire and he was threatening me and my children. I came back in the town after a little while, and my family ended up taking me in, and they have been such a blessing. They were helping me to heal and to rebuild. In August, I got news that Dimitri had took his life, and that was supposed to be me and my babies, but by the grace of God, we were delivered from the snares and the chains of the enemy. God showed me so much mercy by still allowing me and my kids to be here. And I'm so blessed because there's so many women that have went like through the same thing and that didn't make it out alive, sadly. And my heart goes out to those families. My kids will never remember this man. They won't remember seeing all the trauma I went through. It's been a really hard year. I can't even begin to tell you. It's been really rough. But through it all, I chose to praise God for giving me the strength to keep going, to keep going, to keep going. I found my voice. I chose a better life for my kids and I. And it does get hard at times, but I get right back up. I keep fighting. I keep fighting because I could be dead. Me and my children could be dead right now. But by the grace of God, we are still here. Please, if you're going through physical abuse in a marriage or a relationship, even emotional abuse, which is the worst, find that strength to leave. It does not get better. They will abuse you again, over and over. It will get worse. They will hit you again. You will become property. I was property. I was no longer seen as a person with feelings or emotions. I was nothing. I was property. I became so suicidal that I didn't even want to live anymore. I remember there were times I looked up and I just begged God to take my life because I could not bear what I was going through anymore. There was a point in time I wasn't strong enough for me and I wasn't strong enough for my baby, so I know what that's like. I allowed a man to have so much fear and control over me. I have to start all over and do everything for myself because I left with nothing. But yes, it hurts every day because I love this man. He was like my first true love. I gave him 3 years of my life. But what he started to become was very dark, and he wasn't the man that I met. And it was hidden until like circumstances brought it out. But that day that I left, chains were broken. I'm bruised, I'm broken, but I'm not defeated. And my faith is strengthening every day. I'm realizing my worth. It may take years for me to rebuild, but I'm willing to get back everything that the enemy stole from me. I just want to let you know that God is with you. God is with you. God is with your babies. He will never leave or forsake you or put more on you than you can bear. I hope I reached someone today with my testimony. You got this. You can leave. You got this. You can leave. When you're planning to leave, don't even let them know. Just act like everything's normal. That's what I did. And while you're day by day, while you're planning it, just keep it in the back of your head that you're getting ready to be free. And if you're a mommy, you got this. Don't ever be ashamed of what you went through. I want you to reach out. Your breakthrough is coming. You can always rebuild and start over, but you can never get a life for you. You can never get a life for your babies if you don't leave. You are beautiful. You're amazing. You're handsome. You're strong. You're so worthy, and your life is so valuable, and there is so much in store for you. So I want you to leave this domestic relationship or marriage that you're in, because it's not worth it. You have a story to tell. You have to reach out to others like I did. Your breakthrough is there. You just have to reach out and want it. So I love you. My DMs are open for anyone who wants to talk or discuss anything. I'm here. I'm a listening ear. I know what it feels like, and I've been there, and I can guide you. And I just want to say, God bless all of you, and I love you, and you are loved. You're so, so very loved. Keep fighting. I want to leave you all with the verse, Psalms 147:3. It says, "He that healeth the broken in heart and bindeth up their wounds." So I hope this video really touched someone, impacted someone, and I just want to say thank you for taking the time to tune in and listen to my experience, and I love you all. And down below I will leave the domestic violence links and phone numbers, the hotline for you to contact, and share this and spread the word, so that my story can get out there and touch others. And thank you guys for tuning in. I love you, and I will have fresh new content coming soon. See you guys. Bye. God bless all of you, and I love you, and you are loved. You're so, so very loved. Keep fighting. I want to leave you all with the verse, Psalms 147:3. It says, "He that healeth the broken in heart and bindeth up their wounds." So I hope this video really touched someone, impacted someone, and I just want to say thank you for taking the time to tune in and listen to my experience, and I love you all. And down below I will leave the domestic violence links and phone numbers, the hotline for you to contact, and share this and spread the word, so that my story can get out there and touch others. And thank you guys for tuning in. I love you, and I will have fresh new content coming soon. See you guys. Bye.